Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another crypto video. Today mostly talking about XRP, as it's one of the best performers throughout the day. We have a crazy trade open, and I noticed that the majority of the most read articles throughout the day are all XRP related. And I think that's also partially because it's like one of the only ones here that has a positive price over in the top 10. The only other coin that has positive is USDC, which you don't really consider to be a crypto like that, which basically means XRP is going against the grain. It's basically in a decoupled state right now, and that's really funny if you look back at the last couple of the videos that I've made where I talk about the XRP manipulation and XRP specific movements. And again, looking back at our trades as well, it's just so interesting, the contrast here and how it's going. It's so fun. Having said that, let's cover some of this news and the lawsuit stuff and whatnot. First of all, XRP lawsuit. Ripple's letter brief criticizes the SEC's ultra-aggressive approach. DPP sounds daunting, but this defense just means an agency's right to protect the privacy of its internal decision-making process. Even in the courtroom, in fact, DPP has played a huge role in the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple. That said, however, a totally different court case has led to a change in the legal treatment of this defense. In fact, Judge Sarah Nedburn issued an order for both the SEC and Ripple to file short letters to support their arguments in light of the change. Now, Ripple's filing is public. No watering down of words. The defendant's 3-page letter, a limit set by the judge, covered the interpretation of the DPP, which reportedly needs messaging documents to be connected to a specific decision or a specific decision-making process. In a statement by counsel Matthew Solomon, the defendants claimed, as NRDC case confirms, the SEC must identify a specific decision-making process and explain in its privilege logs how each withheld document connects to that process, a burden the SEC has plainly failed to meet. Ripple also underlined the seriousness of this by stating that the SEC is the plaintiff in the SEC v. Ripple Labs. Now, open the floodgates. In the case between the National Resource Defense Council and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit ruled that the EPA could protect some policymaking records under DPP. And this protection also covered staff messages about communication policies, and it remains to be seen how the SEC will use this privilege in its own brief. For its part, Ripple challenged the SEC's claim that its documents regarding the William Hinman speech were protected under DPP, noting that the SEC does not take responsibility for the Hinman speech, basically. And that's one of the most interesting questions right now, if you ask me as well. Because I've actually checked out both of these. You have the SEC letter here, and you have Ripple's little supportive or supplemental letter. You can see the SEC states the DPP provides broad protection for policy-oriented deliberations that reflect an agency's decision-making process. And the DPP likewise protects messaging records. What they're basically doing is, they have Ripple's letter, right? What they basically do is see exactly this and say exactly the opposite, meaning we don't really get much out of this little supplemental letter. It is only for the judge to decide exactly what she finds of it. As we now know Ripple's arguments, we know exactly how the SEC basically counters that in literal form, because that's literally what they've done. They claim the exact opposite in the sense that whatever they're doing is the way it should be done, yada, yada, yada. We're just going to have to wait for a judge to make a decision on the matter, guys. Going too far into all of this is a waste of time, waste of energy. Let us wait, let us see what the judge is going to say, as I do think it's going to be really freaking interesting to see how she basically finds that the SEC information is relevant or not, and whether or not the William Hinman speech is actually protected or not. That's going to be one of the most interesting points in this lawsuit yet. I'll get a decision on that rather soon, I think. But all right, XRP price reacts by adding 15% to its value, as former Coinbase CLO, he was, so Chief Legal Officer at Coinbase. I believe he was also controller of the currency head, and also the CEO of Binance US, Brian Brooks, if I'm not mistaken, tells Congress to let them in. So what happened? Well, let's quickly check it out here. According to Brian Brooks, CEO of BitRue now, he changed up, Congress should let crypto in, meaning that the current legislation should be made more tolerant of crypto, and that restrictions on its use in the economic space should be lifted because crypto poses no threat to the US economy. Brooks also stated that digital assets should be treated as what they are, instead of pushing them through the boundaries of currently existing definitions, and digital assets have a value that people are ready to pay for, and they also represent some kind of underlying activity, he says. SEC is stifling innovation. XRP is a digital asset. Let us in. His point being, man, it makes no sense for XRP to be held back this much and why they're basically going after a freaking crypto witch hunt. At the end of the day, people know what they're going for with this crypto stuff. So just let them evolve. Let them go. And let's build instead of keeping it back and whatnot. But that's, again, just my opinion as well. Now, on December 8th, the CEO from 6 major crypto firms spoke before the U.S. House Financial Services Committee in a session entitled Digital Assets in the Future of Finance, Understanding the Challenges and Benefits of Financial Innovation in the U.S. So the question that comes up is, of course, does this mean Coinbase is relisting? Well, according to You Today, Brooks cited the example of XRP to highlight the problem with bringing digital or cryptocurrency assets within traditional financial regulatory frameworks, adding, if XRP is a security listed on a U.S. exchange. This appears to have rekindled interest in the possibility of fresh XRP relistings. When the SEC announced its lawsuit against Ripple, several exchanges made the move to delist the XRP token, including Coinbase. XRP trading was suspended on Coinbase January 19th, and it remains so at the time of publication. But then there's also an article right here. If XRP is a security listed on U.S. exchange by BitFury CEO, same guy we just talked about, people right now are taking this a couple of steps further. CNBC said BitFury Group CEO, among the crypto CEOs heading to Washington next week to testify before the House, he tells us what he thinks the committee should consider when it comes to regulating crypto. And again, one of the things he says is, well, if XRP is security listed on a U.S. exchange, which is really interesting to me. It is really, really interesting to me. And he's, of course, also calling out for how XRP is being mistreated right here. One of the most interesting pieces of news, and people are really applauding Brian Brooks for his action here and to kind of bring up the question about it. I like that. The BitFury manager brought up the XRP dilemma directly to congressmen and women, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I can only talk joyously about all this stuff. Here was why near XRP and the sandbox are surging today, a midday for crypto market, or a mid-down day for the crypto market. I'm going to say that there's not necessarily anything too specific that there always needs to be. I mean, for metaverse-themed crypto sandbox, there's a range of obvious catalysts that continue to take the token higher. Interest around the metaverse has continued to soar, with the sandbox being one of the big winners in this race for metaverse market share. Today it was announced that Hong Kong real estate mogul Adrian Cheng has picked the sandbox as his blockchain-based metaverse of choice, acquiring one of the largest parcels on this metaverse. So basically meaning, hey, we got some extra activity, let this price pump up. But at the end of the day, it's, for a good part, I believe here, also a little bit of manipulation. Like, for example, Near Protocol has continued to see strong sentiment and high trading volume. Today was more than like 12% up, I think like 25% at the end, following a rather impressive swing of nearly 30% yesterday. Much of this momentum had to do with the addition of Near to the MoonPay app, adding to the depth of investor being able to access this token. I disagree strongly. I believe that being added to MoonPay like that is absolutely not that big a deal. At least it shouldn't up the price by like 50% or so, but some people seem to value it that way, and some people think that that's exactly the reason behind it. Could be, but it just doesn't make too much sense. So I believe there's some manipulation to these coins in that sense, as they're also so decoupled basically from Bitcoin. It's very interesting, very peculiar how they are moving right now. Very, very peculiar. Then to kind of come back on it, by the way, I've been reading, and I've been reading so much. Today is literally just filled with people being ecstatic, people being excited about these guys, I'm going to call them guys, just different crypto CEOs, going to Congress, going to the House and saying, hey, big middle finger to you, we don't like what you're doing, change it up. And I think that's also a really big push for XRP in the sense that even though a lot of these guys are not mentioning it literally, right? The majority of them are fighting for the SEC's overreach and for the fact that these laws are outdated. Now, again, if we relay back, one of the key problems right now where we're actually noticing the difficulty is in the Ripple v. SEC case, where the laws are just outdated. Meaning, at the end of the day, even though they're not fighting for XRP specifically, they kind of are. And that's, I think, also why the price is reacting so bullish. Again, guys, we're in some crazy profit right now on our XRP trades. I'm still extremely happy to be holding this crypto. You can see we're still actually going up. We're still actually performing rather nicely. I'm still going to have to watch out and see how XRP goes over the next couple of hours, to be honest with you, because I did tell you all to buy, but that was like the last couple of days. Today, we've gone up so much, such a nice percentage, and from the last buy that we've done, we're also up such a nice percentage that it gets riskier and riskier and riskier. Right now, we're up 20%, but you can see here we're up basically 200% on our buys that we've done live together. It's, you know, the longer you wait, the more difficult it gets. Then again, I do believe that XRP is in a position where it's just so extremely bullish right now. It has a lot of bullish momentum and influxes. yeah, I'm a really big fan of it right now, and I'm really excited about it, which is also why I have some orders open for if we go down lower. Because, again, I don't like buying too high, if you guys get my drift, but I do always like preparing for a bigger dip. And so if the market crashes a little bit more severe at one of these points, I got to have my different buy orders open and just snatch up that extra P if we get to that point. But I digress. That was it for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video later today.